Good morning. We'll get started in about 3 minutes. Good morning. We'll get started in just a few moments. Hi, good morning. Welcome to our Get Stimulated webinar. This is Del Ruff, the Director of North Carolina Center for After School Programs. And with me this morning is our STEM Partnership Coordinator, Dr. Sharice Allen. And we want to go over our newest initiative that we're rolling out in North Carolina through NCCAP for expanded learning and after school programs called Get Stimulated. So before we do that, I want to go over a few housekeeping things to kind of let you know about this Google Hangout on air and how this may work. So first and foremost, your microphone will be muted during the presentation. And if you have any questions, feel free to go to the Q&A. There's a small Q&A button that should be on the left of your screen where you can actually post a question. If at the end of this, if you have a question, feel free to email myself or Dr. Allen. But it will also, you'll have a chance to view it on YouTube. So it'll be archived on our North Carolina Center for After School Programs Gmail account or YouTube account. All right, without any further ado, I want to start off with the keys to preparing a successful Get Stimulated grant application and introduce you to Dr. Sharice Allen. Sharice?
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our technical assistant webinar. First, we'll go over our outline. We're going to first talk about the process in which you would apply for the Get Stimulated Extended Learning Understanding STEM by Design grant. And then Del Ruff will talk about the STEM effectiveness study and what that entails. So the title of what I'm going to talk about are keys to preparing a successful Get Stimulated application. And we'll get the next slide. So the first component is to go over what understanding STEM by design actually means. So we are looking for applications as well as we'll move into professional development where we're going to look at understanding STEM by design. Each project proposal will be based on the Understanding by Design framework. And in this framework, you're able to design curricula, assessment, et cetera, based on a predetermined set of learning outcomes with an overarching goal of learning by design. The proposed STEM learning activities that your students are going to engage in should help them to develop as well as strengthen their understanding of key concepts that we find in STEM. And this can be demonstrated through your students showing the ability to explain STEM concepts, interpret, as well as apply those concepts to answer a particular question, also provide a perspective on a particular STEM concept, as well as integrating or increasing their knowledge base around a given topic. Next slide. So what are the goals of our competitive grant program? The projects that we're going to look to fund are those that meet the following goals. Number one, we're looking for projects that improve a student's ability as well as skill in science and mathematics. We also want to fund projects that will encourage and cultivate enthusiasm in your students for science and math. Thirdly, we want to fund projects that develop and or enhance students' interest in pursuing careers in STEM, or as well as STEM-related areas. And finally, we're looking for projects that increase knowledge, skills, and ability for after-school and extended learning practitioners to facilitate STEM programs. And all of our programs or projects that we will fund are going to be designed around the consensus for developmental outcomes and learning indicators for STEM and after school. And we're looking for projects that align their proposed activity with one or more of the developmental outcomes that are listed for you in the PowerPoint. And those outcomes are as follows. The first outcome, I can get to my right page just a moment. The first developmental outcome, we're looking at youth develop interest in STEM and STEM learning activities. So that's the first outcome, and we have on that same file or same slide indicators for progress and some examples of activities that we would utilize to assess whether that outcome was met. The second outcome is that youth develop expectations, capabilities or capacity to productively engage in STEM learning activities. And thirdly, youth come to value the goal of STEM and STEM learning activities. So all the projects that we're going to fund must be aligned with one or more of these developmental outcomes. And that is one of the key components we'll be utilizing to assess whether or not your project will be funded. So who would be eligible to participate in submitting this competitive grant application? We're looking for all K through 12 after school and extended learning programs. That includes school-based programs, faith-based, community-based, as well as nonprofits. However, no summer only programs would be eligible. We will be selecting 10 extended learning programs from across North Carolina to participate in the grant application. Next slide. So what are our expectations of participating programs? If we could get the next slide, show that please. So we want all programs that are selected based on a successful grant application are expected to attend the 2015 Synergy Conference that will be held in Greenville, March 23rd to 25th of this year. NCCAP Get STEMulated will cover the registration fee for 2 participants from that program, from each selected program. However, hotel accommodation and travel expenses will not be covered. That cost must be incurred by the participating program. In addition, during Synergy, participants are required to attend workshop, Implementing with Fidelity, where we'll go over how the grant should be managed, how you should submit your orders for funding, and other items that would help you be successful in managing this particular grant. Secondly, during Synergy, we are asking that participants engage in a professional development workshop entitled Defining Scientific Problems Based on Real Life Situations. And this is the beginning of a series of workshops that will be culminating during the 2015-2016 year for our grant applicants that were selected. In addition, after Synergy is completed, participants are also required to engage in a series of professional development workshops entitled Get Stimulated, Understanding STEM by Design. The workshops will be virtual as well as face-to-face. All face-to-face workshops will be held at the Public School Forum headquarters during the 2015-2016 grant year. And further information will be provided to you if you are selected during Synergy in terms of the schedule and so forth. Additional expectations on the next slide. We're also asking programs that are selected to integrate a mentoring component into their existing programs. And how you can obtain mentors are you can use mentors you already have engaged in a partnership with, or you can utilize statewide access to Million Women Mentoring Initiatives, or for those that are in the Raleigh Research Triangle area, you can utilize mentors through the US 2020 mentoring program. And during Synergy, there will be a couple of workshops centered around mentoring, so there'll be some information for you to gather from those sessions as well. Finally, participating programs are expected to provide community engagement activities. That could be through a parent-family night or through community presentations to civic groups, your funders, or school partners, demonstrating your engagement, your Get Stimulated engagement around STEM in your particular area. So what kind of funding will be provided through this grant application? Next slide. So the program stipend amount is a total of $1,500. It is broken down into two components. Number one, $300 will be provided to cover registration for 2 staff members to attend the 2015 Synergy Conference, which is required. The remaining $1,200 is utilized for project needs, such as equipment, safety gear, project materials, or other resources to carry out your particular project. Also, funds can be used for program field trips to local science museums, to pay for STEM partners that are or other stakeholders that will serve as a resource to support your proposed project. Once a program is selected, funds will be distributed to each program on a reimbursable basis from NCCAT. So now I'm going to focus on the actual proposal. What does it entail and what are we looking for? The proposal is comprised of 6 components. You have to have a project title that is concise but engaging and very descriptive, which represents what your project will entail. Secondly, you must identify developmental outcomes that your proposed project will be based upon that was previously covered. And the major part of the project proposal is your project description. And this will describe the scope of your proposed project, where you will include an introduction about your project, a clear statement of the subject under investigation, also questions that your proposal will attempt to address or your hypothesis that will be tested. In addition, you should provide program goals and objectives. In your background, what have you done previously based on this particular area in STEM, and why was this particular area of STEM selected? As well as an overview of your actual proposed project, which includes the materials and methods that you're going to utilize. What activities will you engage in? What method will you use for data collection and analysis and so forth? And finally, under the project description, you want to have an assessment plan. How will you determine whether or not your outcomes have been met? How would you go about measuring or analyzing or determining whether your students actually learned or were able to do after they participated in your selected activity? The fourth component of the proposal is your project activities and timeline. It's where you provide a month-to-month breakdown of the proposed activities, when they will occur, and when they will be implemented, as well as what items you will utilize to carry out those activities. The fifth part is your budget and justification, where you will list supplies and software that you are requesting to carry out your proposed activities, as well as how they will be used for that proposed activity. And the final component of your project proposal is a mentoring plan, where you briefly describe how your program plans to utilize mentors to engage your students. And the final component of the application deals with 6 additional questions that center around what resources you have available in your community already that will allow you to engage your students in STEM, as well as how you will select or choose students to participate, and how you plan to encourage your students to pursue STEM goals once they have completed this project. If you need additional information or have additional questions about the application, feel free to contact me. My email will be provided at the end of the presentation. Now I'll turn it over to Mr. Ruff.
Thank you, Dr. Allen. And so we'll take this time here to pause and see if there's any questions that anyone has that they need any assistance with right now. And to kind of give you a background of this particular initiative, as you know, NC CAP is our statewide network in which we work to convene and support and advocate for all of the expanded learning and after-school programs in our state. But we also have a research and evaluation focus as well. And this particular grant here is where we want to impress upon all of our stakeholders the opportunities that exist currently in the expanded learning and after-school space. And so going through this type of project proposal will help many programs, we feel, develop the skills necessary to write more grants in the future, but also have some assistance along the way. So as I see no questions are currently at this time, and feel free, as Dr. Allen said, to email us. You'll see our emails at the end of this. We'll move into the next part of our presentation. So the next part of our Get Stimulated initiative is a STEM and literacy effectiveness study. And those of you who wish to participate in either both or one or the other may do so. The STEM and literacy effectiveness study will primarily engage in the same goals that you saw in the Understanding STEM by Design The STEM activities are primarily for grades kindergarten, first, and second. And these activities that will be received are grade and age appropriate. And the L in this for literacy, there are books that will correlate with the STEM concepts for each grade. And that is an important part of this study. One of the things we want to see is it effective to tie in the STEM activities and literacy at the same time? So your participation in this particular study is voluntary, but what you'll actually receive from this will be the actual training kits that is needed to do the studies that are presented. So your eligibility, this is really for kindergarten, first and second grade after school and expanded learning programs. Can be school-based, faith-based, community-based, nonprofit, child care development centers can also apply. But this is not for a summer-only program at this time. The total number of eligible candidates that we're looking for will be 12 from across North Carolina. And we're hoping that from those 12, we'll be able to expand this in the future as we move forward. Our expectations are very similar to those for the Get Stimulated Understanding STEM by Design, in that attendance to the Synergy Conference, March the 23rd through the 25th. The STEM Plus L will cover one, if not two, registration fees, as this study is a little different. One person could travel to the conference, receive the training that will be there, and take that back with the kits as well to their sites. So at Synergy, you will actually get the professional development workshop, which will be on STEM and literacy, effectiveness in early grades is what it's titled. You will receive the kits for your grade level. So if you so choose kinder, first, and second, you would receive 3 kits. So travel accordingly and think about the space. But if you get one grade level, that will be fine. And after Synergy, we will have a pre-survey, which we will send to each program to start off with, and then a post-survey, and then a best practices convening, in which during the time we will have everyone come to Raleigh for the end of the actual study and give us some of the best practices, things that need to be worked on, things that didn't work, and the integration of STEM and literacy in the after school and expanded learning environment. So now that's the end of all of our information for our Get Stimulated, Understanding STEM by Design and STEM and Literacy initiative. This initiative, Get Stimulated, will be a 3-year STEM capacity building initiative in North Carolina from NCCAP. We're currently receiving funding, or this is sponsored by Burroughs Wellcome and the North Carolina GlaxoSmithKline Foundation. As we seek additional funders for it, then we'll see the robustness of this particular grant grow as we are looking at 3 years of this. But at this time, we currently have those 2 funding sources available. So I'll pause here for any additional questions. So our contact information is now available on the screen. You see Dr. Allen's information, our STEM Partnership Coordinator, and myself, Del Ruff, as the Director of NCCAP. Feel free to contact us via email. Next steps would be that those who are interested, and those folks who are moving forward, will receive their applications next. And those applications have a due date of February the 27th, I believe. Correct, Dr. Allen?
That's correct, February 27th. And the link has been emailed to each participant that submitted their information on the interest form. Those were sent out as on yesterday for majority of the people. So you should be in your email box, an email from SurveyMonkey, and your access to your application is based on your email address.
So
and not share your email link to anyone else. Each email link for access to the application is tied to your email address.
So if there are any questions, and this broadcast is recorded, so you'll be able to go back through it again. But if there's any additional, if there's no other questions, we'll begin to transition to sign off. If there's any individuals or any other programs that you feel may be interested in the Get Stimulated possibilities, please be sure to have them fill out the interest survey. Without the interest survey, we will not generate the applications. And so that's a key component of our process. With that, I would like to say thank you for your time. Be sure to contact us if there's any questions. And you all have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.